Welcome to chapter 41, the book of Jeremiah. Chapter 40, we had the warning by Johanan that Ishmael was going to possibly kill him, but Gedaliah, the governor, didn't want to hear it, and so Johanan left, and now it begins in 41, and it came to pass in the 7th month came Ishmael, son of Nathaniah, the same Ishmael, son of Elishama, from the family of the king. So he was a royalty. Now, it doesn't say whose son he was, but he was of the king, so he was a royal, a son of somebody in the royal family, and leaders of the king. So they came from the king. The king had been taken, but yet these people apparently had escaped, and they were someplace else when all this occurred with Babylon taking Jerusalem and capturing Zedekiah, and the leaders of the king, and 10 men with him. They came to Gedaliah in Mizpah. So we'll go to our map here, and here's Mizpah right up here. And Jerusalem is down here. Anathoth is real close to it where Jeremiah is. But now the governor has set up his reign there up in Mizpah. And the 10 men, they went, Ishmael and these other rulers from the king and the 10 men went to Gedaliah there, and they ate. Doesn't say where they left, where they came from, but that's where they went. And Ishmael rose up, and the 10 men who were with him, and they struck Gedaliah by sword and killed him. And all the Jews being with him in Mizpah, and all the Chaldeans being found there. And then in parentheses, whom the king of Babylon established over the land. So he not only kills the Jews that were with him, fellow countrymen, and the Chaldeans. Didn't want anything to do with anybody that was allowing the Chaldeans to rule over them. You see so many things like this in power plays throughout history of people not wanting to be ruled by somebody else. It just goes, it's nonstop. It's always been that way. Tribalism, nationalism, all sorts of things that cause people to split and to fight against each other. And it says Ishmael struck the men warriors, and Ishmael struck the men warriors. So even the soldiers that were with Gedaliah. And it came to pass in the 2nd day of his striking Gedaliah that not a man knew of it. So they did it in secret. And there came men, I have or from here should be better, from Shechem, from Shiloh, and from Samaria, 80 men, being shaven of beards, and having the garments being torn, and beating their chests, and gifts and frankincense was in their hands, to carry into the house of the Lord. Come in a humble state, and so they are now coming, but apparently they come to Gedaliah, and they for Shechem, Shiloh, and Samaria. We'll go back up to the map here, and Shechem is way up north here, then Shiloh is here, Samaria is in this area up here, so they have now come down to Mizpah, to where Gedaliah had just been killed by Ishmael. And there was 80 men, and they were in a humbled state, torn garments, shaved beards, and so forth. And Ishmael, son of Nethaniah, came forth to meet them from Mizpah, and they went and wept. So now who is the they? Could be that the people from Ishmael, that's what I would suppose, came forth to meet them. Now, could the them and the they could be the same? They were weeping, the men coming from these other places. Are these people of Ishmael pretending that they are also weeping? I'm not sure. And he said to them, enter to Gedaliah. Well, Gedaliah's dead, but it's a trap. And it happened in their entering into the midst of the city that he slew them at the well, he and the men with him. And 10 men were found there. And they said to Ishmael, "You should not do away with us, for there are with us treasures in the field, wheat and barley and honey and olive oil." And he passed by and did not do away with them in the midst of their brothers. So these men bought their freedom. And the well into which Ishmael tossed all whom he struck was a great well in Mizpah. This is the one which King Asa made from fear in front of Baasha, king of Israel. I added the fear because that's basically what it's from. This well, Ishmael, son of Nethaniah, filled of slain ones. Pretty much ruined the water there in Mizpah with all these dead bodies in that well. And Ishmael returned, all the people being left behind in Mizpah, so all the people that were with Gedaliah and the daughters of the king, whom the chief guard Nebuzaradan apparently put these people in charge, the daughters of the king, to Gedaliah, son of Ahikam, and he sent out unto the other side of the sons of Ammon. And so we'll go back to our map. So now he's here in Mizpah, and Ammon is over on the other side of the Jordan, over in this area here, up north there, Ammon. So there he is going to go across and escape, so he thinks. And Johanan, son of Kareah, heard, and all the leaders of the force with him. Now this Johanan was the one and two other men along with Ishmael that came to Gedaliah, and Gedaliah was warned, but now Johanan has heard that what he thought was going to happen did happen. That Gedaliah was killed. And all the leaders of the force with him, they heard all the evil things which Ishmael, son of Nethaniah, did. Now this is going to affect them because they are leaders of the force. Chaldeans are going to come back because their men that they left there were killed and are going to probably wipe everybody out. So this Johanan now hears all these terrible things and worries about himself and the people that he's with. And he led all their encamped army and set out to wage war against him, Ishmael, and found him at the water of the great pool in Gibeon. And we'll go back up to here, and now Gibeon is down here, and Bethlehem is down here. I'll mention Bethlehem here, but Gibeon. So he went down the Gibeon and found Ishmael. Johanan found Ishmael. And it came to pass when all the people with Ishmael saw Johanan, son of Kareah, and all the leaders of the force with him, they were glad, and they returned to Johanan. They left Ishmael and went to Johanan. But Ishmael escaped with 8 men, octo anthropis, anthropology, 8, octo, octagon. And they set out towards the sons of Ammon. So he keeps going towards the Jordan River. And Johanan took, and all the leaders of the force with him, all the remnants of the people whom he returned from Ishmael, son of Nethaniah, from Mizpah. So he takes all these people that were with Ishmael that had left, and he takes them, brings them together after his striking, that is, after the people who returned from Ishmael, son of Nethaniah, from Mizpah, after his striking, that is, Ishmael striking Gedaliah, son of Ahikam, mighty men in war, and the women and the rest of the things, and the eunuchs whom he returned from Gibeon. So now Johanan has taken the eunuchs and the women, the people, and set out and stayed in Chimham. That's in the King James. The Greek is Varoth Hamaam. Now, you can study this and see if you want to find out where it's at, but I was going to do that, but it says it's by Bethlehem. So it just seems like, well, I point out where Bethlehem is. It's in the West Bank today. Most of these places are. So they went down to Bethlehem to go into Egypt. So they are setting out to save themselves by leaving Israel to go into Egypt. It says, from the face of the Chaldeans. For they feared from their face. For Ishmael struck Gedaliah, whom the king of Babylon established in the land. Now, Johanan didn't. He warned Gedaliah. So now why he decides he wants to flee to Egypt and thinks it's going to be better for him there, I don't know exactly why, but this is what he decided to do. But before he does leave, he goes for information to Jeremiah, and we will find out what Johanan asks of Jeremiah, and the reply in chapter 42 in our next video seminar. Hope you'll join us, and God bless.